What if I told you the tallest building in Texas, the entire state of Texas, isn't in Houston or Dallas, but in a neighborhood in Austin that didn't even have sidewalks 15 years ago? Yeah, you heard that right. Less than 2 decades ago, if you wandered down these streets in Austin, you'd see old bungalows with peeling paint, quirky little backyard bars, and maybe a mechanic's shop if you needed your brakes fixed. No glass towers, no cranes scraping the sky, no billion-dollar developments. Just a laid-back pocket of Austin with more personality than polish. Fast forward to right now, and what's rising from that same spot isn't just another building. It's one of the most ambitious skyscrapers in Texas history. This isn't just tall, it's record-breaking tall. A 1,025-foot vertical neighborhood called Waterline. And here's the kicker. This thing isn't just changing Austin's skyline, it's rewriting the rule book for what Austin even is. So, let's break it down, because the story here isn't just about a shiny new skyscraper. It's about how Austin transformed from a weird little music town with taco trucks on every corner into a city that's suddenly competing with New York, Chicago, and San Francisco. And along the way, this tower, Waterline, became the poster child for Austin's growing pains, its risks, and maybe even its future. Now, Austin's boom didn't just come out of nowhere. The early 2000s were when the seeds were planted. Tech companies started sniffing around. Startups realized Austin had cheaper rent than Silicon Valley, but still had that cool, creative energy. People called it livable. It had the music, the food, the culture, and slowly the crowds came. By 2024, Austin's metro was welcoming almost 160 new people every single day. Imagine 160 strangers showing up to your neighborhood barbecue every single day. That's what Austin was dealing with. And with that kind of population surge, you need housing, offices, roads, and let's be honest, more than a few skyscrapers. Here's where things get interesting. Back in 2005, city planners made one bold decision that basically lit the fuse for everything that followed. They rezoned Rainey Street. If you've been to Austin, you know Rainey. It's that funky, eclectic street near the lake where bars set up in old houses and people spilled out onto porches with their beers. It was weird, it was cool, and it was one of those places that made Austin feel different. But reasoning meant developers could finally build tall. And I don't mean 50 feet tall, I mean as high as the market and the engineering would allow. Suddenly, the east side of downtown wasn't just about barbecue joints and bungalow bars. It was ground zero for a vertical revolution. Add in the city's push to clean up Waller Creek, once a flood-prone mess, now a shiny greenway, and suddenly the land along the creek became some of the hottest, most expensive real estate in Texas. Enter Waterline. Developers Lincoln Property Company and Kilroy Residential looked at that exact spot and said, let's not just build tall, let's build the tallest. And not only that, they wanted the building to blend into Austin in a way that felt connected, not just plopped down from New York. So Waterline isn't just a tower, it's practically a city stacked on itself. Picture this, from floors 42 to 74, you've got 352 luxury apartments with floor-to-ceiling glass. We're talking unobstructed views of Lady Bird Lake, the skyline, and sunsets that will make Instagram blush. Residents also get entire floors just for amenities, lounges, co-working spaces, gyms, and outdoor terraces that put most rooftop bars to shame. Drop down to floors 14 through 39, and you've got over 700,000 square feet of office space. Wide, open, high-tech offices designed to lure in big tech firms. Basically, the kind of offices where you'd expect Google or Apple to slap their name on the lobby. Below that, from the 13th floor down, a luxury hotel takes over. That means more than 250 rooms, meeting spaces, event venues, and even a rooftop pool and bar on the 16th floor. And because no mega project is complete without some retail therapy, the ground floor spills into 24,000 square feet of restaurants and shops that connect directly into the Waller Creek Greenway. So yeah, it's not just a tower, it's a vertical lifestyle machine. Live there, work there, play there, and never really have to leave. But here's where it gets wild. The design of this building isn't just about glass and steel, it's about survival. Remember, Austin sits on a floodplain. So instead of building some boring box, they lifted Waterline on 91 sculptural mega columns, each up to 53 feet tall. These columns are absolute beasts, each one stuffed with more than 22,000 pounds of rebar and poured with 70 cubic yards of concrete. They don't just hold up the building, they keep the lobby 30 feet above the ground, so floodwaters can literally flow underneath the tower. It's practical, but it also makes the base look like a futuristic forest of concrete trunks holding up a glowing glass tree. And that's not all. Because Waterline is so tall and skinny, the engineers had to fight the forces of Texas wind. They built a reinforced concrete core, perimeter frames, and massive belt trusses that keep the whole thing stable. That way, people sipping cocktails on the 70th floor don't feel like they're on a rocking boat every time the wind shifts. It's not just about structure either. The exterior is wrapped in spandrel glass to cut solar heat, paired with native limestone to give it a little Texas personality. And underground, it's tied into Austin's district cooling system with massive new pipes, making sure this thing doesn't just look futuristic, it operates that way too. Now let's talk about scale for a second. At 1,025 feet, Waterline beats every other building in Texas. That means it's taller than Dallas's Bank of America Plaza, taller than Houston's Wells Fargo Plaza, even taller than the 1,002-foot J.P. Morgan Chase Tower, which has been the state's king for decades. To put it in perspective, it's about 20 feet shorter than the Chrysler Building in New York. So yeah, it's legit. And the cost? When it was first filed in 2021, the number thrown around was about $520 million. For a building this complex, that's actually not insane. And here's the big surprise, it's not using public money. At least, that's what the filings show, which is rare. Usually these mega projects lean on tax incentives or city subsidies. But if Waterline really is privately funded, the developers are taking on all the risk themselves. That's bold. Risky, sure, but bold. Speaking of risk, this project has had its fair share of hiccups. Glass panels delayed by 6 weeks thanks to global supply chain chaos. Labor shortages, so bad they had to bring in crews from out of state. And then there's the tricky floodproofing permits that require multiple city departments to sign off. Not exactly smooth sailing. Still, despite all that, the developers are holding the line. The hotel's supposed to open in April 2026, offices in July, and apartments by September. Worst case, if delays pile up, you're looking at early 2027. But here's the bigger problem, and maybe the elephant in the room, the office market. Right now, Austin's downtown office vacancy is over 26%. That's brutal. Even the nicest Class A towers are struggling. Meta literally pulled out of a lease. Google's slowing expansion. And yet, Waterline is about to dump another 700,000 square feet of premium office space into that mess. As of now, no anchor tenants have signed on, so you've got this jaw-dropping skyscraper that might not have a company big enough to put its name on it. That's a huge gamble. But whether those offices fill up or not, Waterline is going to leave its mark. It's already reshaped Austin's skyline. It's tied directly into Waller Creek with plazas and trails. The developers even threw $1 million toward improving the Greenway, building new pedestrian bridges and trail connections. And when the lights finally flip on, this tower isn't just going to be seen in Austin. It's going to be seen as a symbol of what Austin wants to be: dense, vertical, global. The question is, does Austin want that? This city's identity has always been tied to being a little different, a little keep Austin weird. So what happens when that culture collides with megatowers and luxury condos? Is this the future Austin needs, or the future it's just being forced into? Because make no mistake, Waterline casts a shadow, both literal and metaphorical. On the skyline, sure, but also on Austin's future. So what do you think? Is Waterline a symbol of progress or a warning sign that Austin's growing too fast for its own good? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I'm genuinely curious. Would you want to live in this tower? Would you work in it? Or do you think it's just another glass box in a city that risks losing its soul?